Can you describe like a typical day? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dr. Colin Zhu again. I just arrived at the farm of the animal-free sanctuary. I'll be interviewing the owners, Carmen and Greg Pope, and just seeing what they have going on in this lovely sanctuary where they have all kinds of animals, being able to roam around free, not tied into anything, and it's going to be a great interview and tour. So you don't want to miss this, and I'll see you guys inside.
First donkey rescue was actually Charlie, who was a mammoth.
He was old, and so he ended up having some mobility issues. He was like in his 30s when we rescued him.
How much do they consume in a day?
Oh my gosh.
We give them 2 bales pretty much a day because they're in this area called a paddock paradise, where hopefully they're losing weight, where they have to walk to get more food and water and stuff like that around it. Because, well, do you want to explain how like they're past the age where they're slaughtered and why?
Yeah, so normally cows are slaughtered between 18 to 24 months, and cows can actually grow until they're about 6 years old. So cows that they slaughter are much smaller than this. They probably weigh like around 1,000 pounds. These guys weigh closer to 2,000. At that point, if they get this big, it's more dangerous for the slaughterhouse workers because they're just huge, and then I don't want to go into
injured and liability.
Yeah, and like also like when they have to, I hate to talk about it, but when they go to slaughter them, they string them up by like one leg, and when they weigh that much, like they start like breaking hips and stuff like that. So anyways, long story short, they're overweight, and so we have this paddock paradise for them and the donkeys to kind of make it more of like a natural thing for them, where they'll have to like walk to get their food, because when they were in the pasture, they would just eat 24/7 because they're standing in a buffet. And so this way we put hay at certain locations, and they have to actually walk to get it. Eventually, like when we get more donations, we're going to put different substrates on the ground. As you can see right now, it's mainly grass. We did put some manufactured sand here, which is great for their hooves and sanding their hooves down and keeping them healthy. But we want to do other things around here, so it's like more enrichment for them. But those things take time and money. So we're working on it. Yeah. So we're working on it. That's one of our short-term goals too.
Yeah. Awesome. Good morning. Hey guys, my name is Dr. Colin Zhu. We are here at Good Hope, and I am joined by my lovely 2 new friends, Greg and Carmen Pope, right? And we are here at this lovely homestead farm, right? And why don't you introduce for the audience who you are, what you represent, and the whole why.
Cool. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, nice to meet you, and thanks for coming to Farm of the Free Animal Sanctuary. Like you said, I'm Greg, and this is Carmen, and we started Farm of the Free Animal Sanctuary back in 2016, and we were living in Smyrna, Georgia at the time, and we decided, we wanted to start a farm sanctuary actually in 2015, but we both went vegan in 2013, so to date a few more years before all that. We were just kind of experimenting, going through documentaries that we saw, and we came across one on Netflix, I believe, right?
I think it was on Netflix at the time.
Yeah, and so we watched that one, and it just kind of like triggered some light bulbs in our head and stuff, and we're just like, wow, like there's some crazy stuff going on in the animal agriculture world, and and so we looked into a few others, and we heard of Earthlings, and so then we watched that, and that just really opened our eyes, and Earthlings really led us to our vegan path, and we just never turned back. And so Carmen was vegetarian for how many years?
I should know this. Ooh. Since high school.
Probably like
So
15,
from the
10
time I
years.
was 16 to like 28. So do the math.
Oh.
And why were you vegetarian at that time? So high school, that's, not to date, yourself, but that's, during that time, probably not that many options, right?
I had actually met a vegetarian, and I thought it was really cool. And I always described myself as an animal lover, and so I don't know. I was just like curious about it, and then I had an English class, and it was my least favorite class. I was more of a math and science type of person, and we had to write papers, which that was my least favorite thing to do in the entire universe to this day. I cannot stand writing papers. And I had to write a paper, and she actually let us choose the topic, and she threw out some ideas for us. And it was all like controversial things, like, it could have been abortion, it could have been, human rights. And she mentioned animal rights. And I had no idea what animal rights even meant at the time. I was just like, oh, it has the word animals in it. So, and then I kind of just like went down a rabbit hole. And I was reading up on factory farming. Basically, the chickens is what really stands out in my mind. All of it was terrible, but I was really learning about like the battery cages and how chickens were treated. And that's what made me go vegetarian. And I don't think I had gone down the rabbit hole far enough at that time to really learn about dairy and eggs. I just basically learned the meat side of things. So yeah.
What was your perception before watching the documentary, and then how did it, shift afterwards?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I was just your basic American meat eater, thought she was crazy for being vegetarian. I was like, even though we were married for a few years, I was like, I'll never go vegetarian. I'll never be, vegan, which I never heard of either until a few years of, dating her or being married to her and stuff. But yeah, once, I realized though and saw like what the world does and how we get our meat and how we get our, some clothes like leather and wool and fur and all of that and animal testing and the cruelty of it all, I just, couldn't turn back. And so once I saw Earthlings, 2013, I was just like right then and there went vegan, cold vegan turkey or whatever.
Tofu.
Yeah.
Who coined that? Was that what was that on that older gal on the Food Network? She makes that tofu. What is her name? she had the white. She's a little bit older, a little bit. I forget. But anyway, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But she was making a tofu on Anyway, so so where are we, and what is this? For those that don't know.
Yeah, so we are in Good Hope, Georgia, but at the sanctuary Farm of the Free. So again, in 2016, we decided we wanted to do this, and we actually, we're visiting farm sanctuaries, volunteering at our friends at Full Circle Farm Sanctuary in Warm Springs, Georgia, which is just south of Atlanta. And we were going there weekly, a couple times a month, and just learning all the basics of, how to kind of run a farm sanctuary and how to take care of the animals and do the types of chores and stuff like that. And so then we realized that's what we wanted to do. And, Carmen's had a background in, as a vet tech and in the vet world for many, many years. And I've always kind of worked remote since, for the last 10 years or so. And so we just kind of realized that's something we could do. And, even though moving out to the country, as long as we have internet and stuff, we can do that. And so we left Smyrna, which was in Atlanta, and sold our house in May 2017. And after looking at about 10 properties, we found this place here in Good Hope. And it just kind of like, checked all the boxes. It had some structures already on the property, a lot of fencing, and of course a house for us to live in. And
that's important.
Yeah, and lots of good fencing for the animals to, for us to create a home for them. And so we, in 2017 we started, building up spots and areas to rescue animals, and here we are. We've got how many residents now?
35.
35.
Mm-hmm.
And what type of animals?
We have cows, donkeys, 1 pig, sheep, goats, chickens, and 2 dogs.
You know what? As I was driving here, I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to Charlotte's Web. You remember that book? It's one of my favorite books.
I grew
We've
up
got
on
it in the
that.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up on that.
I don't know how many years it's been, but I remember passing by and I found the hardcover. It's like so many years anniversary or whatever, and I was like, oh, I gotta get it. So,
That's cool.
so how do you source? Where do the animals come from? Like, how do you source them? If that's the best way to, ask.
Yeah, so they come from a variety of different backgrounds. Like for instance, we have Cash and Waylon here. Waylon's on the left, Cash is on the right. They both came from a local family here that has like a horse farm. And they rescued Waylon from an auction, basically as a baby calf. So sometimes when baby calves are either abandoned by their mothers and they're not like, getting milk from their mom, farmers don't have time to sit there and bottle feed them. So they don't lose profits. They'll auction them off. And so that's where they got Waylon. So they actually, rescued him there and they were raising him on their farm. And then their property actually backs up to a giant cattle operation. They noticed Cash, I don't know how much longer later, but as a little baby calf just sitting in the field, and they were keeping an eye on him, and his mom never came back for him. So at that point, they went over there and literally dragged him onto their property and started bottle feeding him, and they were raising them together. And then they realized that they don't have enough space for them because they eat a lot. And we actually shared the same equine vet as them, and our equine vet told them about us. So that's how we got Waylon and Cash. The donkeys can come from a variety of different situations. We've had 4 total. These 2 came from people who had them that just were like either moving or didn't know how to take care of them. But there is a wild, called a black market donkey trade. Well, they raise donkeys for meat, and then they'll get shipped. I think it's either from Mexico or something like that, and they'll use them for meat. And then we have a bunch of chickens. We have some that are from their ex-factory farm egg-laying hens, and some are like rescued from. They're like a rescue transfer from other rescues that are like basically overflowing. And our sheep, we have 2 sheep that are saved from the dairy industry. And we have a goat that's actually saved from the dairy industry. So it's a variety of different things. Sometimes it's just rehoming, and sometimes it's more like serious situation.
Right.
But we'll see posts on Facebook, and there's lots of Facebook pages actually that are in the farm sanctuary community. And we all we'll get contacted in many ways, like, either phone, text, email, direct messages on social media and stuff. And if we can't take them, we'll share with the community, and hopefully another sanctuary can or something. And so, there's lots of posts about other animals needing rescue. So we've seen those, and we, have been able to take some at those times. Or when someone has contacted us, we've been able to, say yes. But we can't say yes all the time because we only have so many hands and so many, amount of donations and amount of land and.
Can you describe like a typical day, if there's such thing as a typical day on the farm?
We wake up, we first feed the dogs because they won't let you do anything else until you do. And then we go let out the chickens because all of our chickens get put up at night and are locked up because of predators. And then we let out the goat and sheep, and then we go around and feed the cows and donkeys. And then during the day, we'll just basically be checking waters. We'll give out medication to anybody that needs medication. Oh, a lot of pooper scooping. Yeah. Sometimes there's like maintenance things. Like right now, Waylon's leaning on the fence. So we've had to like fix the fence a few times. So we'll go around and do things like that. Just make sure like everything's kind of safe and secure to keep our residents like happy and healthy.
So this flock, how we rescued them, they were actually, and this has never happened before at the sanctuary since we've been here in the last.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, in the last six years this May, But they were actually dropped off in a box that was from Tractor Supply, where they probably purchased them, because people can purchase hens and chicks at Tractor Supply nowadays. Well, they've done that for a while, I think. Have you heard? Do you have those?
What is that like? Tractor Supply.
It's basically like a farm and feed shop, where you can get, all sorts of farm equipment, food, fencing, bedding. They even sell dog stuff.
And they just have a box of chicks.
They have like a pen basically where they sell chicks during the springtime, and they call it Chick Days, and people will go and they'll buy them around Easter time and stuff. And this was actually soon after Easter, where someone dropped them off in a box, and it was all 5 of them. So we didn't know, how many were roosters, how many were hens, which, was kind of worried us, because we only have so much space for roosters, because you can't keep all the roosters together if you have a little amount of hens, because they will fight. Thankfully, though, it turned out to be 1 rooster and 4 hens. So this flock has remained together since they've been dropped off here. And thankfully, we also had the space to, provide them a forever home. So here they are.
Yeah, they're all about a year old. Philly, he's the rooster, and then Integrity's the hen following behind him. And then we have Belinda, who's the hen with the most brown, who's walking on the other side of the fig tree there. And then we have Sublime, who's facing that way. And then Poppy, who's picking at those weeds right there. Yeah.
And what kind of personalities do they have?
Oh my gosh. Curious. Belinda and Poppy are a little bit more shy. I would say Integrity and Sublime are like a little bit more curious and just kind of bold, I would say. Philly he's just like their protector. Like sometimes he feels like he has to protect them from us. So we just have to kind of respect, him and their little community, and just, not pose as a threat, because he will protect them.
Yeah. Roosters are amazing.
Yeah.
What kind of predators have you seen so far?
Thankfully, we've never lost anybody to a predator. The types of predators that would normally come after chickens are like foxes, possums, raccoons, hawks, owls. That's why we have this netting here. And I think even coyotes. But yeah, we
have coyotes.
Yeah, we've taken it very seriously. So I don't know if you see along the perimeter, there's this hardware cloth. And it actually goes as a skirt like this on the outside. So if somebody tried to dig in, they would hit the hardware cloth. They are incredible.
Myth-busting time.
Yeah. So they're misunderstood in the fact that people just think they're like dumb and like they'll call them mean. Because some roosters are very protective. They have like this innate ability to want to protect their community. Did he just peck at your?
No. He's like, I got something to say.
But it's really cool because they're literally like the sentinels of their flock. So like if a predator were to get in here, the roosters will put themselves in between the predator and the rest of their flock. They're literally like would sacrifice their life for their community, and it's just a beautiful thing. And if they find food, they'll call the rest of the flock over. It's this thing called tidbitting. So they'll point to it with their beak, and it kind of sounds like Morse code. It's like, dit, 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 dit. And all the rest of the flock will come over, and he'll allow them to eat first. They're so misunderstood, and they get a very bad reputation. But
tell us.
So in all the chicken areas, we try to plant like enrichment food type plants. Like this is a fig tree, that's another fig tree. We've got blueberry, raspberry,
blackberry, muscadine.
Muscadine. So So when they start, producing, they can just come up here and grab and pick them and stuff. It's really awesome in the fall when the figs are all out. Like they'll just jump up and take them down and stuff. And,
Yeah, it's so cute seeing a chicken jump.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
No. Not as cute as a chicken. No.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a curtsy in midair.
Kind of, yeah. It's like so proper, but they get it.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Do you see yourself 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What is the hope for all this for you guys?
Long term, we hope to go out of business because we hope everybody goes vegan so we don't have to rescue animals.